Hello, welcome to Painting with Jasmine Rempel Art. I'm Jasmine and today I'm going to make a Christmas card. This is the style that I'll be doing it in. I've done a few of them, so I'll show you each one. This one says Peace, Joy, and I've used salt and added some branches. This one is similar, just joy. This time I'd used blooms from water and added branches and a word. And on this one I added salt, some blooms, and a bouquet effect. So today I'm wanting to add branches because I promised I would make a video with them. This video for this card is already in the process of going up, and so if you want to do one without branches and with a bouquet effect, or both, please have a look at this one. Okay, I'm just going to quickly go through my supplies and then we'll get started. First of all, I'm using a Strathmore watercolor card. It's 5x7 and it's 140 pounds cold pressed. I've been using these for years. They work great. They're blank inside and they come with envelopes. I get them from Amazon. I have my card adhered by masking tape to a board, and that way I can lift it as I go along. I'll be using this little, it's a lid for a jar. Then I have a large circle I can trace around and a smaller one. I have some kosher salt here. Table salt will work fine if that's what you have. I've got a kneadable eraser and a H pencil. H tends to be light and hard. I have water, paper towel. My brushes I'll be using are a little set of round brushes. This is a 10, a 6, and a 0. These are by Black Velvet Silver Series. This is a liner brush. It's a 1, and it is a Windsor Newton liner brush. I'll sign my card with a Staedler marker. That's the brushes. For my paints, I have watercolor paints here, and this is Windsor Newton professional level paint here in this palette. And then I will also be using this Fine Tec Pearlescent color set, and mostly focusing on the golds and perhaps silver, we'll see. All right, I believe that's all I'm using. Oh, I have a tissue box here as well. Okay, so it's time to get started. I'm going to start with the larger ball, and I'll put it down low and just trace around. Now, I got this idea from a variety of people. I've seen these balls on Instagram. I've seen them on Pinterest, and I've also seen them on Facebook. This time of year, lots of people are experimenting and learning from each other. All right, I'm going to draw on a little rectangle with a curve at the top here. I'll have to erase this line and another one. There we go. that one's quite large, so I'll make it a little smaller. There we go. Just thinking, I think I'm actually going to use some masking fluid to mask out this little shape here. So this is my masking fluid. It's from Winsor Newton. And I have here Ivory Soap, which I use to coat my brush so that it doesn't, so the masking fluid doesn't stay on the brush. I have a special brush that I use just for masking fluid, so I'm grabbing this. It's a Princeton liner brush. So I'm just going to get it wet, and then I'm going to coat it in Ivory Soap. Great. And now I'll open up my masking fluid and reach in. And I'm just going to paint around this curve. The masking fluid will dry, and then ultimately it saves the white of the paper. I can paint on top of it, and yeah, it just masks out the white paper, much like masking tape does. Okay, great. I'll have to use my water here. I usually have 2 water sources, but I don't today. Okay, I'll wash that brush out later. Right now it's fine because it had Ivory Soap on it, and I will actually just coat it in a little more Ivory Soap while I wait to wash it. Okay, these are drawn on, so let's get painting. I'm just going to spritz my paint. They're still actually quite damp because I was painting earlier. And I'm reaching for my number 10. And I'm just going to begin to put water inside. Now, I'm doing a wet on wet technique for those of you that are fairly new to watercolor. And ultimately, I am wanting to get the inside of this surface damp. And I'm turning my board around so that I can see the sheen of the water. And that way I know where I need to add some more water. Now I don't want so much water that it's running out of this circle, but I don't want so little that it dries quickly and I don't have a damp surface to work with. If you're new to watercolor, it takes a bit of time to get used to this technique, so just play and have fun. I do a lot of work in a lot of playing, I don't want to say a lot of playing in my sketchbook before I make cards, and that way I get used to different techniques that I want to try. I'll show you. Before I ever tried these ornaments, I practiced in my sketchbook first. Okay, well, I'm going to use Quinacridone Gold for this ball. And I'm being intentional to leave a few parts without paint, and particularly a highlight area. I'm going to get some more of the quinacridone. This time I'm not adding water to it so that it will be nice and dark, a nice deeper color. I'll just put that here and there. And then I'm going to grab some of that Quinacridone Gold, clean off my brush, and then I'm reaching for a violet color. And I'm going to mix a bit of the violet in, and that will neutralize the color and add it to look more like a shade. And I'll just put some shadows here and there. On a Christmas tree, there tends to be light and shadow everywhere on the ornaments. I spent some time just looking at my tree closely the other day. A little more violet, deepen the color in some areas. Okay, that's good. Cleaning my brush. And now I'm reaching for my 0 round brush, and I'm dipping it in water. And I'm just going to tap that water in some areas, and what I will get is nice blooms. And it'll look like just little light reflections in some areas. Nice. I have I don't know what this is. It's a little hair there. I've picked it up. I'm going to do a little more of the blooms. That again, that's just water, little taps of water. I was looking at my gold ornament the other day and I noticed a lot of those. All right, that's lovely. I'll leave that alone and I'll move into another area. I'll do this ball now. I just want to let you know that typically when I'm finished sketching, I don't tend to sketch so dark. I will rub off some of that if I feel it's too dark. The reason I've left it, oh great, I've rubbed up the masking fluid. I'll have to reapply that. The reason I left it so dark was for you, so that you can see the shape that I'm drawing in, that I'm painting in. Okay, a little more ivory on that liner brush. Open up my masking fluid again. I had forgotten I had it on there. And I'll just draw that on again and let it dry. Good. Coat it with the Ivory Soap and let it rest until I can wash it off. Okay, I'm reaching for my number 6. I'm trying to decide whether to do blue or purple. If I do purple or violet, it's just gonna be just so strong. But I kind of want to stick with an analogous color scheme. And so I will. Analogous is 3 colors that are close together on a color wheel. So blue and yellow will make green. So that's really the colors that I want to use today, is blue and yellow and green. I can paint right over top of this area because that masking fluid is there. But I'll go around my rectangle. I'm using a smaller brush because this circle is smaller, and it just allows me to have a little more control of my surface. Just looking for that sheen again. Good. Nice and damp. And I'm reaching into Prussian Blue. Again, being mindful to save a few white areas. Going right over the masking fluid here and around the rectangular shape. Careful around this curve. Nice. Saving that highlight area. Just moving the color around. Nice. I've cleaned off my brush and I'm just going to lift a little bit of the color here to accentuate the highlight. And I'm going into Indigo. I'm just going to darken up a few areas with that Indigo. It's starting to dry, so I want to move quickly. Leave it like that, and reaching again for my 0 round brush, getting it wet and just tapping, creating some nice blooms here and there. Those lovely sparkles come out that way. Good. It's hard to stop. I shouldn't do too many. Okay. I like that. All right, next I want to do these little rectangular areas, and then we'll move into the background. I've got my Quinacridone Gold on my 00 brush, just getting a little more water so I can move that pigment a little better. Now this 00 brush has a very lovely fine tip, which enables me to get details. You probably noticed that I cleaned some water pigment off. That's because I'm wanting to have a lighter side over here. In fact, I'll clean the whole thing off and lift a bit of color. And I've got just a little highlight there. All right, and I'm going to take a little bit of violet, put it in there, and bring that to this side. There. Okay, good. Same thing here. That straight gold and a bit of the violet. Some extra water there. Oh, not dark enough. Okay. And taking some of that off from my lighter area on this side. Good. And drying my brush and even lifting a little highlight, and then bringing in that violet darker color right into here to get that shadow. Okay, lovely. Time to move into the background. So I'm going to be doing wet on wet. I've got my number 10 brush, and I'll just start right in here. I'm just going right in this corner. This silver brush, Silver Black Velvet, has a lovely fine tip, so I can get in those tight corners. Otherwise, I might reach for a smaller brush to get in there. Okay. I'm going to bring that water out and up. And down and around. Good. See if I can give you the sheen look so you know where I've brought it. There, there, and there. Not all, I didn't go all the way to the bottom. Okay, now I'm going to mix the blue. Take all my colors. So I've got some Prussian Blue in there, and some of my gold. And I'm going to grab a little bit of indigo, nice dark, right here, and just begin to tap some color in and let it bleed out. Tilt my board a bit so it does bleed out. Good. And then I'm going to grab more of the gold, add it in. And just turning my board so it bleeds out. And some more of the gold. Get some lighter color in there. Going up and down, even kind of giving a little branch-like effect here and there. Good. Just picking up a little bit of this, some of that dark, and create some branches. Onto the wet and wet. Okay, that's good here. I don't want to do any more. That looks great. I'm going to grab some salt. Just do a gentle little sprinkle. And then I'm going to turn my board, but first I just want to get this, some color right in here, because just to smooth out this ball a bit. Good. Okay. I get very whispery when I'm focusing. All right, let's have some fun on this side now. Again, nice and wet. I'm just looking at this one while I do it. And okay. Going right over that masking fluid, but saving the, not going into the balls or into the little rectangles there. And just bring some water up. Right over this, behind. And down. Okay, that's good. So again, I want it to a bit darker in this area. Good. Bring that out, let it bleed out. Just grab what I have available at this point. Trying to get some branch-like look. A bit rough over there. I'm going into the, this is actually a dry area. And let's get some Prussian Blue, darken it up. I'm wanting to get some branch-like effects on the wet and wet. That Prussian Blue is little circles there. Have to lift those up. Good. Oops. Okay. Encourage some of this to go farther. All right, I'm going to put a little salt at the top as well. And I need to let this dry so the salt can take effect, dry naturally, and then I will come back in and we'll add some of these branches once it's dry, and then some metallic paint. It is now dry and it's time to just rub off this salt. It's given some lovely sparkles. And I'm going to rub off the masking fluid as well. And take a moment just to erase some pencil lines. Okay, so I'm reaching for my liner brush. I'm just going to put it in this pre-mixed color here of a nice deep green. I'm just going to make just paint some branches. Just coming out of the center here. Just making a line in the center and then pulling out little flicks of my brush. That's lovely. Let's have one going upwards as well, and maybe lighten it up a bit with some of the gold. Good. Nice. Get some of that lighter color as well in these branches. And maybe some of the darker in this one. Grabbing Prussian Blue. It's pretty. Reaching into my gold. Just to add some interest, so it's not all the same green. Super. All right, let's turn it around. This portion is really all about feel. And letting your brush dance across the page. And I love it. I'm just looking, trying to decide what I want next. I feel like I've got these interesting little parts here, so I'll do one in a bluish color just to make it look like I wanted those little parts there. Good. I could go on and on and on and on and on. But I won't. Really aim to try to stop here. Okay, well, that's pretty. Pretty. Okay, let's get these hoops and the lines that they're hanging on with my zero brush. Quinacridone Gold. Just got a little more water on there so it will spread. It's quite nice and dark on that side, so let's lighten it up on the other side. Not that light. A fine balance. Okay. Little more water, lightening it up. Good. That worked. And the violet that we used to add a shadow, just put a little bit in there. Super. Going in with that violet and quinacridone color right here. And then straight gold here. And then a little more water to dilute it here. Okay. I've got a ruler. And my number 0 brush. And I'm going to get Indigo. That might be a little darker than I want. Let's just do the Prussian Blue. And up we go. Good. Okay. Rub that off. And do the same thing over here. Ish. I'm a teacher, and there's a wonderful Peter Reynolds book called Ish. It's about a student who, a child who feels he doesn't like his work, so he crumples it up, his artwork. His sister picks up the artwork that's crumpled, puts it all over her room. She likes it. He discovers that it's in her room and can't believe it. And she shows him that even though it's not perfect, his art looks ish. In other words, tree-ish, or line-ish or bobble-ish, and he gets the courage to begin to make art again by his sister's encouragement. I love that book. So I read it to my students, and we talk about the joy of art and how you can lose the joy of art if you're trying to be perfect. And so during art making, I will say to the kids, I'll have them repeat me. We'll just, through art time, we'll just stop and we'll just say ish. And that is my way of reminding them that don't get too hung up on being perfect and really work at enjoying what you have. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to just soften some of the hard edges. I'm rubbing water and then picking it up. And that way I'm getting some softer edges so that these balls blend more into the background is my aim. All right, that looks lovely. I'm going to write peace and joy on it. Actually, there's not a lot of room for writing up here, so, and there's not a lot of room for writing here either. I might actually just leave that white this time. Oh, we forgot our decorations. Okay, I forgot our decorations. Reaching into the metallic paint. Okay, so going into gold. Get nice couple of lines across and curving them to give that illusion of 3D. Pretty. Just playing here, adding some decor. Once this is on, I'll show you the metallic effect. Okay, and for this one I'm going to use blue. Good, I like that. I feel like I want to just paint these in. This is the part of the video where I need Christmas music. My goal in 2026 is to learn how to get music backing on my videos, because I sure enjoy it when I look at others. I made a little kind kind of a boo-boo here. That's okay. Let's have a big one here and then a littleish one here. It's always okay. Although there have been cards I've recycled. So, okay, let's show you what it looks like. And then I'll peel off the... Isn't that gorgeous? I'm trying to show you the blue. There we go. All right, I'm going to sign this and peel off the tape. J. Rempel. I'm ready to give away to someone. Sometimes people buy them. I post these on my social media sites and I sell them for sometimes $7.95, sometimes $6.95, depending on how much detail I put into them. Or I sell sets of them. Okay, all done. Gorgeous. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please subscribe and like, leave a comment to encourage me. If you can, I'd really appreciate to hear from you. Bye for now. Happy creating and have a blessed Christmas season.